HSBC has played a very interesting role. I remember when I was 13, my father gave me that HSBC Money Bank.
Yes.
That's very popular, right? So I got that, and I remember I used to, kind of save my money in that whole HSBC building that's in Hong Kong. I used to save money in that, and I think that's where the understanding and realization of how money can do wonders for you came into the play.
Hi, and welcome you all to Sustain to Scale series. Today we have with us a self-taught designer who began a journey at the age of 17, and now she owns her fashion label called Vijor and Asort, a community commerce brand with a turnover of over 200 crores. Natasha, on behalf of HSBC India and Collaborator, I would like to thank you for taking time out for being part of this Women in Commerce initiative. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Anuj. Thank you.
Natasha, so let me start with this. You started your entrepreneur journey at the age of 17 and moved back from Hong Kong to India to participate in India growth story. How is it going for you?
I've seen China very closely. Part of my early developing days, I used to go to China a lot. So I've seen how China has kind of, scaled from as a country, as in an opportunity space. And I'm finally seeing the gist of that happening in India today. When we kind of came to India in 2010, 2011, it was pre-initial stage and things were developing. The local landscape were trying to understand how, startups kind of function, and startup were not even a term back then, right? So we've seen that, space. But now after 10 years, I'm finally able to see a lot of companies coming forward, a lot of startups kind of being built, and problems being solved at the India and the Bharat level. So that's exciting for me, I would say.
Why did you choose to create Vijor? What was behind it?
Any of the companies that, Anuj, we've created, be it Asort or Vijor for that matter of fact, a lot of it, I would say, initially, and I'll be as honest as I can be, it was just very basic business models. My worldview started kind of expanding. That's where the vision started becoming a lot more clearer in Asort and Vijor both, because we realized that your story has to move beyond just selling products, right? Your story has to move beyond just being a consumer-focused brand, and specifically a D2C brand that was talking to the consumers directly. But we wanted to kind of tell them the larger vision. For Vijor, for example, eventually the whole sustainable and mindful story kind of started becoming clear, and we said, hey, what all can we do in this particular space? So over the years later, we launched Asort Vijor Experiences, wherein we were talking about that whole mindful lifestyle. But through experiences, we taught how mindful lifestyle can be lived to our community. And same for Asort, we started as a fashion direct selling company, but over the years we realized that community building is a very key and a beautiful skill. Demand fulfillment, I would say, is the easiest part, but demand generation, it's an art in itself. And we realized over time that we're actually good at it. Why don't we really scale it up?
You're right also, Natasha, in talking about the fact that the next billion is going to come from the community sales. Everybody is talking about community. Everybody is talking about building, telling a story which community believes in, not only about hearing it, but believes in and also participating it to some extent. So when you started Vijor, what was the mindset at that point of time? I say, obviously, as an entrepreneur, the vision, it takes time to develop a vision, right? Was it a product first or was it a customer first?
Honestly, I think I kind of look back and I would say that's the mistake that I personally made. We started with the product first, right? And product was what Vijor is today was not in the first year. We were a very fast fashion, e-commerce, D2C brand. But then, over the years, a lot of failed products kind of came into the play. The STR would be impacted, and that kind of pushed us to think a lot about what the customer actually want. There is this space that is lagging in the whole mindfulness And eventually everybody is moving towards that, which is slow fashion, which is mindful consumption. And that's where actual Vujor came into the play, when we started listening to our customer, when we started realizing that there is a gap in the market. And I would say we started tasting success then.
And the whole part of putting the series up is because we all can learn from each other, and I hope somebody is listening to you and not to do that mistake and put the customers first. And obviously it is easy said and done, but really even in our space, when you look at banking, we try to do that customer first and listen to them and put a solution that would meet their request. When you talk about the startup as an ecosystem over the years, what has changed for you for being a woman entrepreneur? Has there been more challenges, or you see those as more of an opportunity?
Yes, I had my set of challenges because of, of course, me being a woman entrepreneur in the space where, in the fashion space, it was still very, I would say, comfortable. It was still very accepted because a lot of the, in the fashion space, there are more women entrepreneurs, right? Be it
Yes.
MSMEs or be it larger players in the market. But when we kind of started building the core business, beyond saying we will not just sell fashion, we will go beyond categories and we'll build our establishment as a very solid bootstrap establishment. That's where I feel I started kind of getting challenges, because we were trying to acquire really good talent from the market. And sometimes, there were just smaller things that would impact, wherein the lack of confidence come into the play. But then I also realized along the way that if they are not able to go through and look at me beyond, my gender, they're probably wrong for the organization. And they're probably wrong for the vision and the culture that we want to create. A lot of, I would say, success stories coming out now. So even the investor community is kind of gaining a lot more trust.
Natasha, you mentioned in your previous dialogue that most of the e-commerce business is largely been led by the women entrepreneurs. And first thing, and I have interacted with a few of them, and the first thing that comes to their mind is to build something which is sustainable, something which is scalable, and not put the funding first, rather saying that can I bootstrap it, run it, grow it, and then take it to the next level. So was a move to virtual was really a boon or a bane for your business?
We are somewhere in the growth trajectory. So what happens when you are in that space? You're still building processes, you're still building, things and the ways of working. And for us, it was extremely difficult for us to work as a team virtually, because the team is used to working so close knitted and getting things done, very fast paced things. And pandemic has not been great on, I would say, to a lot of us on the mental space. It has not been great. So moving virtually in couple of initial few months, it was fine. But then we started saying, hey, the business has already taken a hit. Fashion industry per se has taken massive hit. But we need to kind of do something to get back to track. The pros were we were able to launch the complete co-commerce platform within the span of 2 months, completely virtually. There were, tech team sitting in Bangalore, a lot of our team members sitting in their hometowns, working from very remote areas. We were able to do it, but to sustain it, because launching is a very different aspect of it, but sustaining and scaling requires a lot of brainstorms.
Where do you actually see banks can come and help you in this growth journey?
Yes, there are still many challenges for women to kind of, get credit based on, the business that she is building right now, especially in the manufacturing space. I did not saw great stories come out of it. I'll be as honest as I can be. And
Sure.
if you are looking at, that whole, be it $5 trillion economy dream, or whether we are looking at the, the production boost, yes, a lot of manufacturing is going to come to India from other countries now. But then it has to be backed by, banks to be able to provide those credit facilities to the smaller players. Education of hers to kind of say, hey, where can I get that credit facility? At what rates are great for me? Second is support by the banks, of course.
Sure.
I do see value creation in that.
Natasha, I'm going to come to the last one, which is very specific to you. What is your business mantra?
Yes, when I was young, I had the entire fire to kind of say, hey, we'll do this. But fire can be an enabler to a certain aspect. After that, you really require skill set to be able to kind of scale your business. And for me, the learning curve has been of 10 years, right? I started very young. Right now, I'm 29. And I have a very aggressive 10 years plan for myself for the next 10 years. But realization that skill building is a very essential part of beyond running your business. I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs, and especially a lot of women entrepreneurs, falling into the whole trap of just being in the operation, micromanaging a lot of things. And in that whole space, we forget to kind of upskill ourselves, because that's like a rocket. The moment you understand a very different perspective of looking and executing a certain thing, you can deliver much more faster things in a shorter span of time. I have seen a lot of young women falling in the trap of the hard work trap, the productivity trap. My recommendation is don't do it. Smart work is essential, and smart work is backed by skill building. Be it your understanding P&L, understanding cash flow, understanding negotiation skills and all of that. Keep building your skills, because that's eventually is going to help you scale things further. Spend on your growth. Be it time or money, but do spend in your growth, because it will pay off if you're very aggressive in life. So yeah, I think that's my personal mantra.